Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming out today. Today we'll be discussing welding safety, a little bit of proper PPE, and machine safeties and hazards. Last but not least, we will be learning how to design, manufacture, and produce an apple cider press. With that, let's get started.
Alright, so from there, I took some Austrian pine and cut it to about 4 1/8 by 4 1/8, and then brought it over to the planer and brought it down to 4 inches exactly. And here I am making sure that my frame bar is lined up perfectly in the middle of the beam, and then I'm drilling some holes for bolts to hold the frame onto the wooden post, and I'm putting some glue in the holes. And these are pretty cool. They're wood screws on the back end and then threaded nuts on the front end. I'm planing the edges down, get that nice rounded edge, sanding it all, sanded up to 220 grit. So here I'm heating up some brands to burn into the wood to add a little bit of character and design. And here, these are metal plates that are going to be holding the cider press part of it, and they need to be bolted on. Here's my mentally delayed brother to help me out, and I'm drilling all the way through the post to put one big bolt through. And I'm drilling out the bottom of this post to put a little leg support in. If you're wondering why I have latex gloves on, I just performed a colonoscopy. And here are the final projects of the wooden post. Now we are starting to make the metal flanges for the frame, and I center punched each one of them. Here's my little jig to make sure they're all in the same spot every time. And I drilled them all out, 32 total. Here are the flanges ready to be welded up onto the 1 by 2 inch frame bar. There it is, sitting in place, and then here it is tacked. I did not get a video of me welding it up because I forgot. So here, basically, I have a 1 inch tubing, and I'm welding a nut onto the end of it. I have that bolt in there to hold it straight, and then I'm grinding out the welds because they're so good looking. I didn't want to show you guys. And then I'm putting some glue in the bottom of the post. There's that hole again, and that's going to be pounded down in there, and a foot will be able to screw down in there to adjust the press up and down to get it level. Here I am cutting out and drilling the feet for the apple cider press, and then I'm pounding the bolts on there. Press fit, some pounding, a little more pounding, some more pounding, and finally some more pounding, and bam. Just paint those suckers up, looking minty. And there's somewhat of it put together, kind of coming together now. I had it professionally inspected by Nathan Patterson's Inspections. Here I am plasma cutting out some gussets for the frame to sturdy it up a little bit, make it a little stiffer. And then here is all the parts I had to cut out, the front plates and the support bars. Here's one of the support bars for the press part of it. I have that all tacked up, ready to be welded. Here I am tacking up the gussets onto the frame. Had that inspected again. Here it is, kind of coming together. Here I am plasma cutting out the tray that the apple cider will run into. This was kind of a pain to bend the edges because I couldn't bend them all at 90 because they'd hit the adjacent sides. So I'd only have to bend them up a little bit and then change it out, bend the other side, change it out, bend the other side. Took a while. Here I am welding up the corners. Now these welds were so good and so pristine, I didn't take pictures of them and I ground them off. Here it is, sitting in the apple cider press. So here I'm cutting the support bars for the apple grinder that'll chop up the apples. Ooh. And tack them in place. There they are. That will support the grinder and the tray in the bottom down there. And here is the front plate for my Apple Milker 9000. Here I am tacking up my large nuts and shaft to my plate. This is the press part that will squeeze all the milk out of the apples. And I'm doing a crisscross tacking pattern to make sure that my large nuts stay aligned on my large shaft. And bam, there it is in place, all tacked up. Here I am stealing some nice stainless steel out of scrap bin for the apple grinder itself. Oh my goodness, how did that get in there? I am shearing it up and cutting it down to size and bending them at 90-degree angles. Basically just making a 5x6 square. Wow, that fit up is superbulous. And drilling some holes. Started out small. I had to get up to about a 1-inch hole. And here's the big drill bit. That thing sucked to try to get through there, but it made it. Tacking up the corners, making sure it's nice and square. Check out the brake fluid sitting there next to me. And I am now welding up the whole entire thing. Took a minute. And here are some insanely subpar welds. Wow. So here I am welding on some brackets to bolt to the frame of the apple cider press. Welds came out pretty decent, but didn't think about distortion, and that ended up looking pretty sucky, but hopefully I can tune it out, get it straightened up. Should have welded on the sides, not the bottom of that bracket. And there it is, set in place, and that's all I got to show you, because that's all the farther I've gotten. He turned into a nut.